Hello, hello. Welcome back to Yin Yoga. Today's focus is going to be on the small intestine meridian. So, what is the small intestine meridian? So, a meridian in Yin Yoga is the line of energy that an organ stimulates throughout the body. So, think of how in acupuncture, when a needle is put into a certain part of your body, that is to generate chi and get rid of any energy deficiency through the organ that correlates with that line of energy. So each organ has a different line of energy throughout your body that can be stimulated by acupuncture needles and also through Yin Yoga poses. So throughout these poses during class today, you'll be able to get your small intestine to be more imbalanced, which brings physical benefits and emotional benefits and mental benefits, which is super exciting. The small intestine controls the stomach fluid that comes into the body, and it separates the impure fluids from the pure fluids and then sends the impure fluids down to the large intestine to then be digested and sent as waste throughout the body. And then it keeps the pure fluids. With this, the mental component is going to be the separation from impure versus pure thoughts. And also thinking of the fact that when we're out of alignment with the small intestine, this can lead to confusion and not being able to have that trust your gut feeling. And that feeling of a heck yes or a heck no versus on how something makes you feel. So today, again, is all about aligning the small intestine and making sure that we can have that idea in our mind that allows us to feel the impure versus the pureness, whether that's thoughts, actions, or just knowing when something feels good for us and then getting rid of something when it no longer does. So this can also be in the category of the ending of cycles and acknowledging when a cycle needs to end and we're ready to begin a new one. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting to sit up nice and tall and just dropping in. Placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And allowing yourself to think about the times where you have felt that need to say absolutely yes to something, and then when you're a bit more hesitant and something feels like a hard no. And just acknowledging the trust in your body that it takes to acknowledge those feelings. Because a lot of times growing up, we're taught to dissociate from our body and ignore our needs or ignore our intuition. That comes from things like our gut or the womb space. These are all things that your body and your mind knows. And going forward, you have the power to say yes or to say no, because you will be able to separate the things that make you feel good and make you feel not so good. And just rubbing your hands in circles. And the heart actually connects to the small intestine as well. The element for the small intestine, every meridian has an element and a season that goes with it. So the small intestine is the element of fire and summer. So perfect for this feeling of summer today, which can so easily, again, help us to balance and stimulate this small intestine. On your next breath in, arms come up high to the sky. Exhale, hands come down to the heart center. Blinking your eyes to open. Okay, so first pose is going to be shoelace. So we have our bolster, two blocks, and blanket today. So right knee is gonna come out in front, and this knee is gonna be in line almost underneath of your belly button, right? And if you have some space underneath of your knee and the floor, you can put a little block under it, or if you need a second blanket, you can put a blanket under it as well. The top knee is gonna come over as you place the blanket underneath. And your blanket is nice and folded, right? So you shouldn't feel either too much or too little support. And you can unfold, refold the blanket, and then again, always option to remove or add underneath of that lower knee. And just sitting up nice and tall, because this is a shorter class, we aren't going to be holding the poses for as long. So in a full class, this would be held for about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes each side. But today we're just going over the different poses that the small intestine can be stimulated by. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are just going to be back and down, lifting up the heart. And because you're in the small meridian today, I keep saying that, the small intestine meridian, the focus is going to be on the gut area, the abdomen. So really try and see if you can soften just a little bit more. Naturally, we hold a lot of tension there. So it's really important to let go, especially on the inhale. We need to fully inhale and puff up that belly. And then on the exhale, soften. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. And your eyes can be closed or soft here. And then I did forget to mention this, but if this isn't feeling accessible, you can lay on your back and basically cross your legs exactly the same as this and hold onto your feet. Because I've taught this pose in class where people are like my knees just don't bend that way, or my hips are just not doing that. So yeah, you can lay on your back and basically again just hold your feet like this, flat on the back, knees are lifted while you're just grabbing the feet. You can also find square pose, which will be in another video I will show you as an alternative to this if this isn't working out for you. We'll go ahead and switch sides. So top leg is going to come down. And then just allowing the knees to sway side to side. And then, so opposite leg is going to be on the bottom right now. So this is going to be your left knee. And then again, also that option to put the block underneath of the lower knee, or you can place the blanket underneath the lower knee as well. That top knee is coming up and over. And if you're on your back, you're just switching legs and going on to this other side. Blanket is going to be underneath of the knees, or in between the knees. Have just a little bit of that lift. And just sitting up nice and tall. And your hips might feel a little wacky here. It's just because one side is super open and one side hasn't been opened yet. Softening in the face. And today we will just be going through 2 different poses that are going to help stimulate the small intestine meridian. But if you would like to do the full class, I am going to have that on my website, which I am taking memberships for, and you can also just buy the class separately. But that will be just a whole hour of different poses with the full time for each pose as well. Oh, that breeze feels so nice. And a lot of times in this pose you want to hunch forward, but it's still really important to keep that nice posture. Alrighty, we can go ahead and remove this top leg. Removing any props from beneath of you. And same thing here, just letting the knees fall side to side. Alrighty, so next pose is called broken wing. And you're gonna come onto your belly for this. Okay, so you're gonna have 2 different options for this. And it does take a few moments just to listen and kind of figure out what it feels like in your body, because it is a bit more of an intense shoulder opener. So blanket is going to come out to the side to support this right arm. And blocks are just going to take a little pause for the moment. We don't need the blocks right now. Bolster is going to come onto your left side. So right arm is out to the side. Wrist is going to be in line with the shoulder. And you're just rolling over onto that right side completely. And you have the option here to bend this top knee and bend the lower knee. And just bring those knees in line with the hip, and you can place the bolster in between them. This is your first option. And again, making sure the bolster is fully supporting between the feet all the way to the knees. Your second option is to straighten the lower knee, bend the top knee, and then send this top knee to the sky. And you have the choice to bring this foot to the outside of this lower leg, or you can bring it to the inside. Personally, I like the outside better, but you can again play around with what feels good in the hips. And if you have some shoulder issues going on, you are more than welcome to bring the blanket and your hand down lower so that it's not fully extended out to the side. Just being extremely cautious again with the shoulders. And this left hand is just propped right up in front of you. And I'm going to go ahead and show you from the side as well. Unclenching the jaw, still find that softness in your belly. Let's go ahead and move to the other side. So all you're gonna do is come back onto your belly. And for a little transition movement, you're just coming into a little Sphinx pose. Elbows are underneath of the shoulders as you lift your chest. And then bend the knees, releasing the feet side to side, little windshield wiper. And remember that this bolster, you can use a pillow. The blocks, you can use books. The blocks can be any kind of like firm, rectangular, or square surface. And the bolster, since the bolsters tend to be a little hard, I would say 2 pillows on top of each other, depending on their size, just to make sure you have that support. You don't want the pillows to be too soft. Okay, so you're just switching your bolster over to the other side. And then the blanket's gonna come back onto the other side. So this time, left arm is gonna be extended out. I'm gonna move down. Okay, left arm's extended out. And you're looking towards the right and moving over onto the left hip. Same option here. So bolster can be in between the knees. This hand is always going to stay the same. You're propping up on those fingertips. And then option number 2 is top knee bends as the knee comes up high to the sky. Your choice with the foot outside this bottom leg or to the inside. Building that trust in yourself and allowing yourself the compassion to be able to separate those impure and pure thoughts. And that can just mean negative self-talk versus telling yourself what you really need to hear. Positive things. Pulling yourself up out of the mud. Trusting your intuition, trusting your gut. Literally trusting your gut, trusting the small intestine. And we won't be here much longer. Again, just showing you these poses today so you can get more familiar with them. Because yin poses are so much more different than vinyasa. Sometimes some are similar and they just have a lot of props. But like this one, first time I did this pose, I was like, whoa, what the heck is going on with my shoulder over there? All right, starting to come back to the center. Oof. Elbows coming underneath the shoulders, back into Sphinx pose. Bending the knees and swaying side to side again. Kicking out that bolster if it's in the way. Alrighty. And closing out with a small Shavasana. Again, Shavasana and Yin is always going to be at least 7 minutes long. So stay as long as you'd like. If you can stay for 7 minutes, then definitely do it. This one will only be just a few moments a day, end out the practice. Gently starting to wiggle fingers and toes. And rolling over onto one side. Making your way up into a seat. Eyes are still going to be closed or soft. On your next inhale, arms rise high to the sky. Taking a big breath in. Exhale, hands come down to the heart center. Today, closing out with the sound of Om, the sound of the universe inside and outside. Inhaling. Om. The light in me honors, loves, and respects the light that shines in you. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you next time.